Hello and welcome back everyone to Last Level Press. I'm Mr. Black, and I realized right after I cut that previous vlog, I'm sure some of you guys are a little tired of me essentially beating a dead horse here, but there's more that I feel needs to be said. So if you're already basically got the gist of everything, feel free to click away and watch one of our more amusing videos. But for the record, I want to get a few things onto the table. I believe in total transparency of business, and I never signed the non-disclosure agreement with YouTube, so I feel that I am completely within my legal and moral rights to conduct our business openly and on the table. For that reason, and for everyone's ability to peruse, to listen to, and to read, I want to now read my emails with YouTube, their responses to me, and I will post the transcripts of these as well in the description of this video. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, my monetization for Chapter 2 of Violetta's recording of Let's Play Lonely Daughter was denied for reasons that do not make logical sense. Their response regarding this is as follows. Your video was not approved for monetization because you have not been able to demonstrate with reasonable certainty that you have met the necessary copyright requirements for including this video game content in your videos. Please note that some video game footage requires explicit permission from the video game publishers to commercially use all video game footage included in your video. Please note that repeated submissions of ineligible videos and/or insufficient documentation may affect your ability to monetize videos in the future. To learn more about what types of videos with video game footage you can monetize on YouTube, check out the following link, insert link here. Sincerely, the YouTube team. I will simply say, for now, that email is full of a lot of statements that are completely and totally false. They are patently untrue, but I'll get to that in a moment. Now then, my response to that is as follows. Hello, I disagree. I have provided ample proof of my right to monetize the video in question. The only issue that may have stood in YouTube staff's inability, or rather, let me rephrase that, or not rephrase, but repeat that last sentence. The only issue that may have stood in YouTube staff's ability to that should have been may have stood in the way of YouTube staff's ability, so apologies for a little grammatical error there. The only issue that may have stood in the way of YouTube staff's ability to understand my justification for monetization is their inability or unwillingness to follow through on my messages by clicking on the links that I sent to them in response to this issue. With that in mind, allow me to quote the website that I linked to before directly for you, as follows. The website in question, by the way, is copyright.gov. That is an official website of the United States government. It gets no more official than that. Section 107, Limitations on Exclusive Rights, Fair Use. Notwithstanding the provisions of Sections 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction in copies or phonorecords or by any other means specified in that section for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship or research, is not an infringement of copyright. In determining whether the use made of a work in any particular case is a fair use, the factors to be considered shall include 1. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes. 2. The nature of the copyrighted work. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted works as a whole. And 4. The effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Personal addendum. I believe number 4 is what is motivating YouTube in this regard. The fact that a work is unpublished shall not itself bar a finding of fair use if such finding is made upon consideration of all of the above factors. Insert source here. My further response reads as thus. This work falls squarely under the terms listed above, specifically under the clause regarding criticism, comment, and news reporting. As a Let's Play including active commentary, the video in question amounts to a first impressions review of the game in question, so all footage recorded from the game requires no prior permission to use, and is completely protected by the provisions of United States Fair Use Law, as quoted above. I shall elaborate further to ensure that YouTube and Google staff understand why this legal provision exists. Quite simply, it is meant to protect freedom of the press. If one required permission from a source of media to review its content in an editorial fashion, only positive reviews would ever make it through the strainer of corporate and personal approval, and personal being a small addendum there. And this would result in consumers' inability to make educated decisions. This inability would lead to stagnation across the board as companies find themselves able to deny negative criticism, accept only positive coverage, and no longer feel any incentive to innovate, improve, and create quality products. This is a bad arrangement for everyone, and is why unbiased journalism needs to exist. What's more, it is why said journalism is protected by fair use, as quoted above. What's more, the game in question is an independently published title, developed by either one person or a very small team. I don't know, hence the speculation. There is very little chance that any portion of this game is owned by anyone other than its original creators. Now, I concede that YouTube, as a private entity, does indeed hold the right to decide with finality what videos hosted on its servers may be monetized and which may not. That is their right as a private company. However, the supposed logic behind the denial of this request for monetization does not stack up. It is flawed, short-sighted, and likely the result of YouTube's recent activation of its disastrously ineffective Content ID match system. In short, this entire issue is a moot argument resulting from Google's flawed Content ID program algorithms. If Google or YouTube can provide me with an adequate reason for denying this request, I will drop this matter. If not, I will continue to pursue it out of principle. For the record, "we said so" is not a valid, adequate reason. Signed, Cliff Davenport, owner, Last Level Press. Now, that said, or read, I suppose I should say, I invite any and all Google or YouTube staff to participate in this discussion openly, publicly, in the comments section below. If you would like to keep this a private matter and send me an email, feel free to do that. I will even include my business email in the description below this video if you choose to hide from the public and conduct this on a private level. Should that be the case, I will indeed honor that request after this. I doubt I will receive any such answer, and I will lose respect for the company should they choose to go that route. I would like to conduct this publicly. I would like for YouTube's provisions to be decided upon, to be judged in the court of public opinion. I recognize that as a very small channel that is very unlikely. I recognize that just like the last vlog that I conducted, this is very probably a moot issue. It is probably a waste of my breath and my effort. But someone's got to start a movement. And I want to hold Google and YouTube to task. I want to make them accountable for the sorts of business practices that they are getting in the habits of. Again, if I were to receive an email saying, "You cannot monetize this because we said so," that's not an adequate reason. However, it's one that is at least honest. Right now, they are not being honest. They are lying. They are telling me that I do not have rights that I do in fact have and that are protected by United States law, of which I am a citizen, and I am therefore fully protected by. So is she. I have yet to hear any reasonable answer as to why my content may not be monetized, and I as a partner may not be rewarded with the revenue that I am due. That's all I have to say. Thank you all for joining us here at Last Level Press. I am Mr. Black. This is Violeta. And as always, we wish you all good gaming and Godspeed.
What you want, what you want. Come on.